Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers from 3 countries, 2 continents, and featuring 5 guys separated only by the same language. Here's your host, Richard Morley.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good times, whatever time it is, and wherever you're listening. Join with me on the short bus this week, Mr. Chris Q.
What's it gonna be a short bus? Hello.
Jamie Page.
Hello.
Joe is, I'm not quite sure what's happening with Joe this week. I'm hoping he's not under the weather and he's just with Steph. Don't really know if I'm honest. So he can't make it and neither can Jason, but
Jason's in the middle of traveling from New York to Boston at the moment.
Okay.
So I just want to let you know where he was. And not that you cared, but I mean, not that anybody cared. Okay, I'm sorry I said anything. Go ahead.
Well, wherever he is, let's hope he is enjoying things and he is well. So as a kind of a
You don't care.
second choice, backstop, reserve, last ditch, scraping the barrel, it's Al from Al's Hack Shack.
All right, Sam, yeah.
Very well, Al. How you getting on, mate?
Yeah, spot on. Thanks for having me on.
Good stuff. I appreciate it was a little bit short notice, but you can blame Joe for that.
Yeah.
So we'll just move along the bus. You don't have far to go because it's only a short bus. Right, so quick, very quick shout outs from last week's thank yous go to Harnell Media and also everyone that is currently in the chat, which is quite a few people actually. We have got very quickly, I'm going to miss people, so apologies. Be Happy Woodworking, Al's Hack Shack. Al, you're here. How can you? This
Stay out of our chat, Al. What the hell?
It's like Al's up. No, because we've got Al, but it's the actual Hack Shack that's in the chat. That makes more sense. Kat's out in the chat. I don't know why she's not in here listening. Temple Boys turning. Anna's Workshop, flicking through. Dave the Wood Barber. There's Tracy Keaton. Loads of people. So big welcome to all those listening live. Fantastic. Don't forget, we love it. We absolutely love it when you get in touch with us over on social media, within the comments, there in the live chat, wherever it might be, because we are all over the place across the internet. As always, tonight's podcast is brought to you in part by Yorkshire Grit, the Woodturners Abrasive Paste, and also our good friend Chad over at Mancrafting, who's still giving away his awesome Mancrafting mugs. If you want to find out more about our sponsors, head over to our website, makesinternationalpodcast.com/sponsors. Chris, do we have any random listener questions from the week?
We do, but we have to start out with something a little different today. And Richard, if you'd like, I'll allow you to kick that off.
Okay, this is where I was having a little bit of a flap because I completely forgot, but I believe it is a special congratulations
Happy anniversary.
My condolences.
Happy anniversary to the Tools with Fools. Or no, did I get that right?
Yeah,
Whatever.
To Steve and Steve.
To Steve. Happy 1-year anniversary to the Fools with Tools podcast. Congratulations, guys. Nothing but love.
What up, boys?
Nothing but love. What a bunch of assholes they are. What a bunch of jerks.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and they got to stop being dicks.
Al, you can unmute yourself now, man. We just had to get that first bit out of the way. I've muted you so you wouldn't say anything and ruin it. Oh, he just left. He just left.
Come back.
I think he pressed the wrong button.
I think he did too.
I just left.
Way to roll the internet, man. Good for you. Good for you.
And I'm done.
Oh my God.
It's like a rabbit in the headlights. Oh, what do I do?
And so for this episode with Fools with Mouses,
My fingers are too fat to use this mouse.
be careful what button you click. No, seriously, Al, and to Steve and also Brett, congratulations, boys. I saw your show earlier today.
Yeah.
And I believe that's scheduled to be, if you didn't catch the live version of the Fools with Tools podcast 1-year anniversary show, I believe it's set to be released on Wednesday. Is that right, Al?
Yeah, that's right. It's usually when Steve can be bothered to get it up. I mean, to put the podcast up.
Yeah.
So if you missed
They're going to be fair and far between now. He's getting a bit older.
And it was a live show they did here on YouTube too, so I believe that's going to be available on YouTube on Wednesday as well. So congratulations, guys, and cheers to that because it was a good show. I enjoyed watching that.
Cheers, thanks, man.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, it literally has exploded, and you've got some seriously cool hardcore followers on there, and you've worked magic over the last 12 months to get to where you are now. So yeah, fantastic.
Let's not get overboard. I mean, come on. I mean, they're okay. I mean,
shut up, yeah, all right, yeah. So, well, thanks for coming on out. That was it.
All right, see you later, guys.
But we did have a question, and it's funny because actually it's a question that the guys at from Fools with Tools got today too. It's the same freaking question. Basically, it's the question that comes to us this week, Richard. It's that we're being asked, and unfortunately, like as we mentioned at the beginning, Joe and Jason aren't here to answer this, so I guess it just relies on us. Are we planning on going to Maker Central next year? And I'm pretty sure that's probably a yes for both Richard and Jamie since they live in the friggin' UK.
And how it goes.
And if so, do we have anything planned, anything special planned for the show? I mean, I don't know if they're talking. They weren't specific. I don't know if they mean individually or if we as a podcast plan on doing anything. And Richard, I'll let you go. I mean, knock this one out. Let me know.
I can answer it for all of us.
Okay.
You have to go to makercentral.co.uk, come to the show, and find out and see what happens yourself.
Way to answer the question, Jamie. Okay, deferral time today.
Yeah, I'm going to be going.
Hang on. How's that? I want to say something.
No, I was just going to say, I for one, after kind of the experience of sitting in the hotel foyer with you guys when you kind of attempted to do a show, but let's face it, the audio didn't work out, but the atmosphere was absolutely fantastic, and the fact that everybody wanted to come around and watch this show, I for one would love to see a live episode of Makes International next year at Maker Central. So hopefully that's on the cards.
We're gonna have to work out the audio.
Yeah, I mean, we basically haven't got a clue what we're doing at the best of times. So you throw in a completely random scenario like that, and it can only go in one direction. We proved that very well, I think. So from that point alone, I felt personally it was a very successful show. But yeah, the audio was definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
Challenge. The audio was inaudible. I mean, let's be honest. It was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I guess it was one of those things you kind of had to be there.
Yeah, well, it's still up on our channel. If you want to go back and look at the, hey, live on location from Maker Central, and if you want to go listen to that, have a few beers before you do so, because you may actually be able to understand us. Otherwise, it ain't going to work. Anyway, to answer the question on our part, as far as I know, Richard and Jamie, if you guys have spoken behind my back, then feel free to chime in. But I don't know if we haven't really talked about doing anything next year yet. I mean, it's kind of a bit of a ways off. I mean, we've got some things that we can't talk about that we're working with other people on as far as, things that may be at the show. But as far as Makers International podcast, we haven't really knocked our heads together to figure anything out to do yet, if we are going to, in fact, do anything.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's usually you that knocks our heads together and tries to keep us in line.
This is the dude on the short bus that does that. So that doesn't put you in a very high light there, Mr. Morley. Anyway. Personally, I'm planning on going. I've got every intention. We are going to do exactly the same thing in terms of our accommodation, all the rest of it. We're going to stay off site, stay in the bar until 3 a.m. And basically, we just want to do next year the same as this year because it was awesome, and hopefully better. But above and beyond that, Chris, I think you're right. It is a little bit early to be specific about anything. But
I mean, you say that, but it was this time last year easily that we were all getting our tickets and getting excited about.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, I mean, Al, if it comes to that, I already have my hotel room booked.
Oh,
so I've already
organized.
So I've booked my hotel room, guys, is booked. I mean, if you haven't booked your hotel yet and you find out they don't have any accommodations, well, you can sleep on my floor if you'd like, but do me a favor and don't get and climb into bed with my wife because she may come with me. Or maybe you can. I don't. That's up to her. I mean, guys. I mean, it's 2018. Be 2019 by then. So yeah, whatever.
I think it's everyone's absolutely right to get excited about it. Even if it's not better than this year, which I think it will be, that's enough to get excited about. Most people have got, or a lot of people have got their accommodation already booked. We haven't got tickets because they're not on sale yet. So come on, Nick, pull your finger out. We need to get the tickets out. But I don't think many people can do much more than they've already done based on the information that's currently available. So it's sort of a waiting game. But yeah, it's going to be good. I think it's going to be fun. And is it, Chris, you're planning on coming over?
Already? Yeah, hey, as long as the funds are in the bank, I'm on my way. Like I said, my hotel room's already booked. So yes, I do plan on coming over again, because there's a lot of England I didn't get to see, because my trip this year was cut short, and I wasn't able to, peruse the places that I wanted to get in trouble in. So yeah, I mean, I do plan on coming back over, because I actually, like I told you last year, I mean, going to the UK and actually visiting London and a lot of the outlying areas has been on my bucket list since I was a kid, and I managed to get there last year. I mean, but all I saw really was a train ride from London to Birmingham, and then back from Birmingham to London, then to the airport again. So I didn't have a chance to be a tourist, I guess is what I want to say, and I want to be one.
Obviously, we want you to be a tourist as well, because you've got to come over here, bring some of your economy, and spend it in ours.
Yeah, and I don't mind telling you how much of my economy yours takes. The friggin' UK is expensive. I don't mind telling you. Whatever, though. Hey, I'm happy to give to those in need, Richard. Cheers.
Absolutely, and there's not much more needy countries in the world than us. Well, yeah, okay, so there are. Let's not go down that rabbit hole, but that's that one.
We could currently use some help, but that's okay. I won't go there either.
Right, so
let's talk about this.
Yes. Well, do you know what? We could either just dive straight in with that, or we could kind of try and use my segue, which I hadn't planned, but is actually a culmination or an accumulation of things. Because obviously, Al, we've already talked about your anniversary 1 year, not just your podcast, but also your channel, Steve's channel. What Brett's doing is all about a year ago. We talked about this year's Makers Central, for next year's Makers Central, and actually what the road trip's all about has come from Makers Central. And it was kind of an idea that I put together, or I had about maybe 4 years ago. Okay. Way before the community was to the point that it is now. It was much smaller in terms of the number of creators. I don't think it was any smaller in terms of people that consumed the content. Yeah. It was definitely a lot smaller in terms of the number of people putting it out. And effectively what I thought was, wouldn't it be cool, rather than to just put a video out and talk to a camera and then reply to answers on the screen, to actually interact face to face with people. So I contacted a few makers in the UK. I won't mention any names because it really doesn't need any, and kind of said, this is what I want to do. Whereabouts are you? What do you reckon? I'll come over to your workshop and we'll do something, maybe do like a collaboration video, because they've always been kind of fashionable. And everyone was like, that's a brilliant idea. Yes, absolutely fantastic. What, you want to come to my workshop and meet me? And then there was this very, I think, very British sort of, you want to come to my house and meet face? Well, it's a wonderful idea, but I'm going to be busy that weekend. And there was this sort of like, partly embarrassed, partly sort of like, I have no idea who you are. I mean, what, you coming for a kidney or what? And at the time I was like, oh. But I totally get that now, because we all do it, with somebody sees you in the street. I mean, I did it at Makers Central. People would go, "Oh, Richard, it's great to meet you finally." And I was like, "Whoa, who are you? What do you want?"
What do you want? Yeah.
So I totally get that. And then after Makers Central this year, I kind of got the sad, because it got back, and it was sort of life, and it was a bit of a, it's like when you come back off for vacation. You had an amazing time for however long you're away, and then you get back home and you're like, I've got to go to work tomorrow. I wish it was yesterday.
Then the withdrawals kick in.
Yeah, absolutely. You get the sads, don't you? So I was like, do you know what? I met all these awesome people, and some absolutely fantastic people that I've known online, and I've talked to in chats and on Hangouts and all that sort of stuff, and I've watched their videos, and I've actually met them face to face. So let's kind of revisit this idea again. And the first thing I actually did, I don't know if you know this, Al, but the first thing I actually did was contact you.
Well, no, the first thing you did was drink about 5 pints of Guinness.
Actually, no, I didn't. Okay. So basically what happened was I sent Al a message over Facebook Messenger, and it was something along the lines of, dude, we should get together and do a collab. How about I come to your house, we spend the weekend annoying your neighbors, making loads of noise from routers and sawdust and stuff. Probably no one will get hurt. And within about a nanosecond, you replied, let's do it. and then it was on. So it's like, yeah, we'll sort something out. And I think Kat and I, because we went to Maker Central and we took the Dandy. Yeah. So Chris, you still got that sticker handy in front of you?
Yeah, I do. But Richard, do me a favor for the non-British people who don't know what the hell a dandy is. Maybe I should interpret this. This is a pop-up camper for those of you in the United States and Canada that Richard can tow behind his car once he gets to a campsite or wherever he's going to be. Unfold it, pop it up, and then live inside it. Okay, so that's what a dandy is. Hey, it says Makers International. I'm trying to help out. Okay, here we go.
Absolutely. So
there it is. There it is, right there. That's the sticker.
Let's just click on you so it stays on you.
All right. I could just keep talking. No, but go ahead.
It's kind of a random shape, and it's shaped like this dandy. It's a trailer, and it just unfolds and it turns into a caravan, and it will actually sleep 6 people. When it's packed up, it just looks like a big trailer, but when it's open, it is colossal. There's loads of room in there. It's like a TARDIS, and it literally is. Seriously, if you
got a ping pong table in there, you could shoot pool. I mean, this has got plenty of room. Yeah,
bowling alley.
Bowling. That's such a cool, because it's long. It's like 8 foot.
And if you want to shoot clay pigeons, there's a skeet range in there as well. Yeah, exactly. So
you can just take the roof off.
Well, there's just ideas coming all over.
Satellite dish. I mean, it's just freaking incredible. I hear you.
Anyway, so we stayed in the Dandy when we went to this caravan camper thing when we went to Maker Central, and Kat's like, well, what we can't just rock up at ours and like spend the weekend there. And it's like, let's take the Dandy. That's what we got it for, to kind of go different places and spend the weekend and stuff. And then we just looked at each other, and when you look at somebody and you both thinking the same thing, and we just went, road trip. and that was it. The gauntlet was laid down. So I then spent maybe a fortnight kind of plucking names out of thin air and contacting people and saying, would you be interested in this and that and blah, blah, blah. So we got some names together, and it went from Al to Jamie, Al, Sophie, Steve, Pam's dad. I think that's everyone. Joe, does I say Joe? There's like 8 stops on the road trip, and they're all around the country. So what we're doing, we've done one leg already. We've been down to see Jamie after UKIS and spent a few days down there and whatnot. And it was amazing. It was absolutely insane. So what basically this road trip is 2,200 odd mile round trip around the UK. Not in a road trip like A to B to C to D all the way around and back home. But
I was going to ask, is there any actually legs where you're doing that, Rich, or is you always going back?
No, luckily there are a few. So Jamie was out and back in. That was a couple of weeks ago.
And what about the road trip?
So you're bad, man. You're bad. You're a real potty mouth this evening. I listen to your podcast as well. So,
by the way, Richard, Wayne, the woodturner, asked if you were available to come up to Dumfries, and if he does, Wayne, then we were talking about this before we went on the air. Richard wants to know where there's a good place to eat in Dumfries.
Whatever, as long as it's deep fried, it'll be good. So some of the legs are literally round trips. So, for example, Steve,
he's just ignoring that, isn't he?
I'm trying my best.
He's good at it.
Wayne, he's not coming to Scotland. I'm sorry, he's not.
No, we are going to Scotland. We'll get there, because the point of it is the whole thing about
there's an ice skating rink in Dumfries. I've been there. It's fantastic.
All right, awesome.
Right. Okay. So yes, we're going to Scotland.
You can get fried kebab.
You can get fried Mars bars and fried all sorts there. It's awesome. Bizarre. So anyway, in answer to
Scotland, I'm sorry, and I keep interrupting Richard, which is really fun because it's just aggravating the hell out of him right now.
It's not. It's so not.
All right, Richard, I'll mute myself. Go ahead.
It's going to annoy poor Joe because he's going to have to edit this. No, so like to answer your question, Al, and I'm sure other people have asked the question already and are probably thinking about it. No, it's not every kind of section is a round trip. So the next actual leg is, or the next planned proper leg is to Sophie in South Wales, and then from Soph, I think we're at Soph for 2 days, and then we go down through from Soph into Somerset with Steve for 2 days, and then back. And the reason that happened was because, you know, try and get. I mean, we sort of went to and fro and said, what dates are you available? What dates are we available? And we picked the dates that we picked. So try doing that with 8 people, and then having to add in like our commitments, your commitments, the kids, work, and then add all those together. It literally would have been completely impossible to say, and unreasonable of people as well. So that's one leg. Jamie was another leg. Your leg is going to be.
I don't know if I call Jamie a leg.
Jamie was a completely separate leg, and that was purely because of.
I'm thinking more like butt, you know, or you know,
a ham.
Yeah, Jamie was the rear end of this trip.
Well, he does live in Kent. That's kind of the rear end of.
But that's where he met Seaside Rick, so it is kind of special.
And it's official, actually.
Where the official,
it's fishy.
Seaside Rick.
Official.
Both.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, I'll shut up. I'm sorry.
It's both. So your leg, we're going up from sort of the East Midlands where we are. We're going up to, I want to say Askrigg. It's not Askrigg. Cat will remind me. It's somewhere in Northumberland anyway. And then from there we go up to Inverness, and then we see Pam, and then Pam's dad, and then we're coming back down via Leeds and then home, and then Joe will be his own sort of separate leg as well. But the whole thing is videoed, and as part of each kind of leg, each visit, I'm sort of referring to as a separate leg. So I've got to do all the pre-production stuff, so footage of driving around and footage of setting up in campsites and footage of actual visits and all the sort of making stuff at the location, and then the post stuff as well. So each person's visit will be a video, a separate video, and they're all going to be hopefully, he says, fingers crossed, edited together in such a way that the series of videos kind of follows on. So it would appear to be, you know, we go from home to Jamie, and then to Steve, and then to Soph, and then to you, and then to Pam, and kind of do it that way. So that the series flows. But it wouldn't have been possible. We were lucky.
How many locations do you go on to, Richard? I mean, I'm sorry, I failed to count when you listed them last. I mean, are we talking 6, 7, 8? I mean, how many people are you going to visit?
I think it's 8, because we've got Steve and hopefully Jazz as well. So that'd be 2, and then Soph, Al, Jamie,
Joe,
Pam, and Pam's dad. So that's 8.
So once a week, that's 2 months worth of videos that you would have basically if you released them one video per week.
Yeah, and that's the plan. So because we've already done one leg, I've kind of got an idea of the enormity of the project as a whole, because I came back from Jamie's with I think it was nearly 200 gigabytes of footage just for that one trip.
Holy moly.
Then had to be, so no, that's just an insane amount of time to edit.
Was that all donut eating, or
no? Jamie did the donut eating was just Jamie. That was all his. It was completely separate. I tell you what, you get some real weird looks from European motorhome owners and truck drivers when you're stopping at motorway services eating donuts like that and feeding dogs and cats. Just don't do it. Bizarre.
That whole, I gotta tell you, that Jamie, that video, not only was it so stupid, it was absolutely freaking hilarious. But what's even more funny about it is, I don't think I could do that. I don't know if I could eat a donut without licking my lips. I was licking
my lips watching the video.
Just wait till Maker Central, because that's going to be 2019. Donut Challenge 2019. No licky lips.
I don't even think I'll enter, because I know I will fail. If you hand me a powdered donut, I'm licking my lips. That's all that's going to happen. Oh my God, whatever. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, Jamie put out a video. Go look on Jamie's channel, JP Woodwork, and look for the donut. What was it called, Jamie? The donut eating challenge?
The No Lick Your Lips Donut Challenge of 2018.
Absolutely ridiculous, but absolutely hilarious.
It's a great game to play with your kids if you want them on a sugar rush.
It's awesome. Anyway, okay, I interfere once again. God, all right, just mute me. All right,
it's all good. It's
Richard,
all good.
Richard, I've got a couple of questions about the road trip because I'm obviously super stoked about it. I think from when you first kind of called me, I was a little bit worried at first when he called me and he was like, "We need to talk." Genuinely, like I never use my phone for anything. Like I don't. I rarely get a text message, and like actually using it as an actual phone. I think it was the first time I'd answered a call on that phone. And I was like, I don't know what button to press. And since then, like obviously, like you've taken it to from level to level to level, and it's gotten super exciting. I'm really excited about it. I've got two questions. First question: did anyone say no when you asked them about coming to visit them? My second question is: are you already thinking about next year, and are you going to do it again?
Right. Okay. So nobody said no
without getting anyone into trouble. Like,
no.
We didn't know weirded out was like British about it, and like, oh no, I don't want you to come to my house.
No, not at all. Not at all. Obviously, it was difficult. The most frustrating thing about it was getting people to sort of respond in a timely manner, and that's purely because I'm sitting here. It's like when you're trying to get people to do things like at work. You farm things out to one department, and you need that back before you can organise the next thing. So, people have life, people have jobs, and it's not on their priority list. I totally agree with that. But that was the frustrating bit because, like, I would, contact one person and another person and say, right, when are you available? We'll try and fit in with you. Throw some dates. And then you get a couple back, and then you'd be waiting on one or two. And you could, like with one of the legs, so for Steve and Soph, to tie those two in together as one loop halved nearly that amount of mileage, because otherwise it would have been, I think, 300 miles and then or something back twice rather than out and along a bit and then back.
Right.
So it knocks like 175 miles off that leg, which is convenient, and also it means we can stop it. So, but you can't plan that leg until both people have got back to you, and
Yeah.
So that
Richard, I've got an idea, and I don't know that this would work. I mean, you tell me, because there's going to be a lot of people that you are going to be driving by in your journey to all these places across the UK. Okay, now here's my initial thought, and then you tell me what you want to do with it. Obviously, your stops in your destinations and the main videos you're going to be doing are already planned. You already have this. You've already got the agreements from the people that you're going to. So, unfortunately, anybody who's not on that list right now, you're going to have to wait till next year when he's able to do this again. But what I'm thinking is, if you drive by and somebody says, "Hey, Richard, you're going to be right in my area. Why don't you stop by? We'll have a lunch together or something." You might be able to piece together the people that you see in between, and you get an extra video out of it that way. And you could actually call it the in betweens. So you could edit that into a video where you might have 5 or 6 people that you've met along the journey. They may not be destinations, but people that you have a quick chat with. Is that something that's possible?
Well, it is, yeah, actually, and that kind of follows on from what Al's already asked. And did anyone say no? And actually, no, nobody said no. Conversely, I think we've had maybe 10 messages, emails, chats, people make contact with us saying, I'm here. Can you, if you're going past this way, how about stopping in here in Hampshire or here in Cheshire or here in wherever? And it was like, oh my God, because I completely wasn't expecting that. The reason I sort of planned it the way we did was because I wanted to video it. And that's the reason I kind of planned in 8, because I wanted to do about half a dozen. That gave me a little bit of, if Al's got to work that weekend or is ill, we can drop one and we don't fall short. It's just aim high, fall not quite so high, or whatever the phrase is. So it gives us a bit of a buffer, basically. So people have said, how about coming here? And it's like, I absolutely would love to. Because I say we, because Kat's coming on most of these, if not all of them. It would be awesome, but it literally boils down to time. Because everyone that is listening that has ever made a video for YouTube will appreciate that a 10-minute video that goes on YouTube has 2 hours worth of footage, or an hour's worth of footage, which took 5 hours to shoot. So even just that small stop for lunch to video that, it turns into a much bigger kind of logistical segment as part of a bigger logistical segment as part of the whole package. And it just,
I know. I'm asking you to add on. It's going to be a project.
I literally had to kind of rein myself in, because it was like, we're kind of going past, and it's like, you know what it's like when you're out shopping, you go, oh, just stop for a coffee, and you stop for a coffee, and that you've only got to go 5 minutes out of your way, but then it's 5 minutes to get back, and then it's another half. Suddenly that 5 minute stop becomes an hour, doesn't it? So I had to be sort of realistic about that. However, having gone and said all that, we're on a family vacation quite soon, a little bit before the Steve and Sophie kind of segment, where we're going up to Whitby. And Glyn, who is one of the podcast sponsors for Yorkshire Grit, he is in, I think it's Scarborough. And he messaged me and said, if you're coming up this way, I'm in Scarborough, knowing full well that we were probably driving up the A1, is how about stopping in? And because we're only in Whitby, well, I say we're 20 miles up the road in Whitby, and we're staying there for a week's holiday, it made sense for him. You know, he said, well, we might actually go to Scarborough one day, or maybe you could come down to Whitby and we can do something there. So the plan is to have Glyn sort of not gate crash, but add in a little segment there.
Okay. No. So yeah, and I didn't actually think about what I was asking when I asked it, Richard, but I get what you're saying, because that would be. I just thought it would be kind of a cool element, that you could chip in there as far as
that's not because we thought about that as well, but it was like you sometimes you just have to rein yourself in, because there are certain if you I'll show you the calendar in the after party, and I'm not joking. It's literally we go from one thing to the next, and then we've got to be back for a particular day. Because I'm teaching in Cambridge, and then that weekend's taken up, and then Monday we're going off to somewhere else, and we've got to be back for then, and then it's GCSE results day, so we need to be back for the kids, and then there's this, and then there's that, and I've literally got one day between tomorrow and the last leg. Everything's in, so it's literally like that, one to the other, to the other, to the other. It's crazy.
And you're going to need time to wash your sheets. I mean, let's be honest, because you're a dirty person.
Well, absolutely. And there is the logistical side of, you still got to live and do all that kind of weird stuff as well. It is far more hectic than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be a jolly, if I'm honest. I thought, what a cool idea. And then it just kind of spiraled, and it was like, oh, we've got to do this, and now we're doing that, and then it's like, whoa, this is now a huge project.
But I think that's a testament to what an achievement is as well, though, Richard. I think it might have been a bit naive thinking it's going to be this little jolly holiday, but the fact that it is this big thing just shows the gravity behind it and shows how important it is. So I think that's a good reflection on how much effort you're putting into it, and how how much reward you're going to get out of it as well. And
also the others as well, because it's not just about going to, it started off just about going to your house and having a few beers and doing some making stuff and coming back some stuff. Yeah, but
wait, Al, get Richard to cook something. I just have to see that. I mean, get him in the hack shack and see if he can boil an egg, because I'm betting he can't. I'll
just give him proper rations and a proper army stove.
There you go.
Piece of cake. Make sure it's dark and raining, and I haven't eaten or slept in a week, and then.
But you know what? And you guys fail to give yourself credit for it. But I mean, Richard, the involvement that you've gotten with this whole friggin' thing. I think it speaks a world for the community that you have in the UK, in the maker community, the people that we're involved with, and that doesn't, in my honest opinion, doesn't get recognized enough, because you guys, there are a lot of fantastic people in the UK, and I can attest to that, having gone to Maker Central last year and met a lot of them, and not only in the UK, across Europe as well. It seems like a lot of the focus gets put on us Americans, and I think it's probably just like we talked about this before. It's a population thing more than anything else. But I mean, just the fact that you can come up with this idea and have so many people jump on board and then want to meet you halfway, that speaks to the community. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, Americans require attention more.
It's what? Sorry, Jamie.
The Americans require attention more.
You say we're needy. What can I tell you? We're needy. We're selfish too.
I think what it actually boils down to, Chris, is it's testament to how the community the sort of subset community, for want of a better expression, in the UK has grown and developed and gelled in the last few years. Because like I said, 4 years ago, I had the same crazy idea, and it came to nothing. But after Maker Central, people have met face to face, people have socialized, the community, and then after that, because you get the inevitable sort of off the boil, slow down, you lose momentum. There's still people saying, "Oh, well, if you're coming this way, you come visit." Come and stop in and do this.
Do you think that's a bit? Do you think that's a bit of the fear is gone kind of thing going on? Once people have met face to face and seen that people are genuine and nice people, the kind of fear of like Richard calling me up and saying I'd like to stop by. You know, I met Richard at Maker Central. I had the opportunity to hang out with him. He's a nice guy. I have no worries about him coming home. Do you think there's a little bit of that to it as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people kind of like, you're not just a face behind a screen no more, you know. And once you sat down and had a drink with them and sat down one-to-one talk with them,
or several,
you kind of or several, you kind of like there's now not just yeah.
Why am I the poster boy for beer?
Put a sticker on the ceiling.
It's because we spent several late nights in the bar. I mean, I hung out with Al and Steve in the bar of the Hilton in Birmingham. Anyway, so Al, yeah, that any fear I had of meeting you and Steve, that veil is like completely gone, because I know these guys can drink as well as I can.
and actually, I think we kind of talked about this in the bar as well, Al, didn't we? About how people.
It's funny how the bar is the focal point with us. It's just sad.
I tell you what, for a lot of people, the bar was the focal point of Maker Central, because Maker Central was not about doors open at 10, they close at 5. It was about.
Wait a minute, Jamie, you got to speak. What are you showing us?
I just got a text from Al.
Al loves you.
It was about the event, from when you arrived to when you went home, whether that was when the doors closed on Saturday or whether it was Monday morning. It was the whole time you were there with people, because it wasn't about wandering around Hall 7 in the NEC. It was about being in Birmingham. And we kind of talked about that in conversation in one of the evenings in the bar. I don't know if you remember, Al, about how you're breaking barriers down and people are gelling, and people that wouldn't normally talk to each other, or it just was irrelevant. So I think that's had a big part of the sort of the response from people.
I think again across. Sorry, Chris, but like across the Atlantic as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's always been this sort of like, not intimidation for me, but like this otherworldly thing about guys in the States, and everything's a little bit larger and a little bit more well polished, and there's bigger tools and stuff, and I always feel like this little kind of like humble English guy, like feeling like you can't quite join in the party.
Not at all.
But again, to what Richard says, second we met every single one of you guys in Birmingham, this kind of like neutral ground in the middle of England, it was all just sudden we're all just the same. We're all the same dudes, same girls. And
we are, and I'd say lower your expectations for the United States. That's just not friggin' happening. But Richard, to take that whole bar experience that you were just talking about and translate it, because you've already been on one leg of this trip, and granted, it was to Jamie, who you know very well. Obviously, we do a podcast every weekend with each other, but translate that whole bar situation where there's a whole group of people in there, and you kind of probably had your own bar situation with Jamie and his better half and you and your better half just sitting around shooting, the proverbial bull. I mean, it must have been very similar as far as the atmosphere and getting to know each other kind of thing goes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was also, it wasn't the experience that I was expecting.
That's a given. It's Jamie. I mean,
no, bear with it, because I sort of went into it originally. This is just going to be fantastic. It's going to be awesome. We're going to, rock up at Jamie's. We're going to make a load of stuff. We're going to have a bit of fun. Probably go down the beach, maybe ride a donkey, come back.
Left my house depressed.
And then I'm waiting for you to drop the bomb and saying it turns out it really sucked.
It was both a very humbling couple of days, because seeing somebody else's workshop is always an education. It doesn't matter what the workshop is. You walk into somebody else's working environment and everything suddenly changes. But also, it was more of I don't want to use the word, it's going to sound really, really weird, and I'm probably going to regret saying it. I don't want to use the word spiritual experience, but it was a very kind of deep, weird experience. But it was also, I genuinely mean that in a fantastic way. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't just about all having fun and making stuff and having a laugh. It was so much more, because I got to kind of talk with Jamie about making stuff, about why Jamie makes stuff and how Jamie makes stuff and all those kind of things, which I wasn't expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that.
Let me put words in your mouth and say that you probably got a deeper understanding of.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
You should have said that like 10 minutes ago and saved yourself.
Well, no, but we had time to kill. So Richard, I know you, and you.
But so yeah, it was just indescribable as to how much worth and fun and how fantastic it was. Certainly for me, hopefully for Jamie as well. Yes, Jamie, please. And it was also a good kick up the backside for me, because I don't know if you've ever walked into your workshop and gone, "Oh, I'm going to do this today," and then you walk in there and go, "Actually, no, I don't think I'll bother. I've got to move that. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow." And you kind of fall in that little rut.
Mm-hmm.
It was when Jamie came around for a couple of days. It was just, let's make this. Yeah, let's make that. And Jamie would see something that I hadn't noticed and go, "Oh, let's do that." And normally I'd go, "Oh, yeah, maybe let's do that instead." It's like, no, Jamie wants to do that. Let's get that out. We'll do that. We'll get the lathe. We'll drag the lathe over from the other shop.
We actually invented saying as well. You know, the 50 cal Sharpie.
Oh yes, well that was all your idea. That was completely. We turned a Sharpie pen we put a Sharpie pen into a 50 cal empty spent case.
Nice.
Well, no,
cap.
And I know that you're not doing the same thing that Rich is doing, where he's traveling about and visiting people. But I know that you've had people visit your shop. I know that you had because after Maker Central, you had Brett come down and visit you guys, didn't you? Did Steve come? Did Steve come down as well, or did he have to work?
Steve didn't, but Jesse did, and Soph did as well. And it's exactly what Richard says. There's this like perpetual sort of fueling of enthusiasm that you get when you're around other makers, and it promotes kind of creativity, and it definitely does when you're in the same room as them. But I think even just sort of like talking like this or interacting on Facebook or whatever, or Instagram, there's this kind of this back and forth that just keeps the fire burning. You know, I think if you're too insular and you're just kind of thinking in your own, you go and sit in your own little workshop, you can have those moments, Richard, where you're saying like, "Oh, I don't know, I have to move that," and it's a ball ache. But the second I've got Brett there, and he's just like, "Oh, fuck it," sorry, energy, and he's like, he's passionate about it as you are, but there's this back and forth. It's really powerful. And I think again from your point, Richard, seeing that from Maker Central, it just keeps on going, keeps turning. It's really exciting.
And you know what I get the most, and for those of you who have visited other maker shops, I get very motivated to help them improve their own shop. I take my world and I make it go away, and I focused entirely on their shop and what they were doing. And maybe, Richard, this is the same kind of experience that you had with Jamie, where you start throwing out ideas for things that they could do to their shop, and see if it hits. And not pushing, but just saying, God, what would be cool over here if you did this over there and over this. And sometimes the light bulb comes on, and sometimes they go, "Already thought about it, doesn't work." And, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I mean,
I can remember when Richard first walked into my shop, he said one of the things that I'm most envious of is all this wall space that you've got.
Yeah,
because Richard doesn't have that in like his conservatory that he's got. There's all windows where Richard is. Yeah. It's literally like you can put a screw into a piece of glass,
So rather than Richard doing like a French cleat hanging system, he's just got these little rubber suction cups that stick to the freaking.
Yeah, so if 3M are listening, the old command strips.
Now you're touching.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's how, Richard, I want to see that video of you just licking and sticking.
We're back in the bus again.
Oh, here we are. Short bus. I took us there. I'm sorry. Go
ahead. There's been a lot of chat in the live chat, actually, and that sort of brings us on to Al's second question about next year, or Did you say next year or again,
well, no,
or
just in the future? You know, is this something that you see as the start of a really sort of beautiful story that you can tell every year and go different places?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. In short, I mean, in the chat briefly, Steve Twydale, Temple Termins, he's quite adamant that we're going to Temple in Ireland, which is something we didn't write off, but we sort of not consciously but subconsciously wrote off, because that would need to be a separate sort of trip, and then you've got to add in the ferry and the logistics of all that, just making things more complicated. So that's an option. People have also mentioned about a Euro trip in 2019. So that could, I'm not saying it is happening. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, because that's one of the reasons we kind of, or I say we, it's one of the reasons that Cat wanted to get this camping trailer, so that we could take it to various places and basically go on holiday for chips, including Euro Disney. But so that's an option.
Oh God,
we are actually
we've already get his nose and everything. Anyway, go ahead.
We have already started looking into.
You are a sick man. You really are. I just want to say that. You should see somebody, because, you know, the mouse ears thing is really deep with you. It's
awesome. Everyone loves Disney. Just
somebody could do a Yoda voice and just say,
"Oh, the Disney is large with you."
I mean, that would be anyway. Whatever. Go ahead.
I'm trying to think of what that sounded like, and it wasn't Yoda.
No, it probably wasn't. Anyway, I'm sorry. I interrupted.
You know what it sounded? What was that little alien that was the?
Oh, Marvin the Martian. That's actually who it was. That was that. Yeah.
Yes, I wasn't thinking of him. I was thinking the one from Futurama. That's
like gravity gun.
Yeah. Fit. That's it. Anyway, so we're actually currently not planning, but we're looking into the possibility of doing something amazing, which would make life so much easier for other people to be part of this kind of thing. Whether it will happen or not, I don't know, and I don't want to talk about it because it might not happen, and then I'll look silly. But we are literally planning, or in the very, very earliest stages of planning, something for everyone. You know, many people that want to do it similar in terms of this sort of road trip.
Well, so, Steve's already starting a GoFundMe over here in the chat to get you over to Ireland. I mean, he's not kidding about this. Steve is already saying he's going to donate $50 for your trip over, and we could probably get a small collection fund to help you get there. Apparently, Steve really wants you in Ireland, which is both cool and kind of scary, because let's be honest, Steve, that's a little weird. Anyway,
it absolutely is, because I mean, it's always nice to.
I'm just kidding,
Steve. I'm going to be deadly serious here for a second, because I don't want this to come across as people wanting to pay for my holiday, because that's not the case. Right. In terms of 2,200 miles worth of fuel, towing a caravan and camping even at campsites in the UK does not come cheap. So there is quite a heavy financial burden on me, because this was my idea at the end of the day. And I don't want people to think of, I'm just paying for your holidays, because
No, Richard, I get that, but let me help you pimp your wares, because I know where you're coming from as far as this goes. You're not looking for people to help you out, but if somebody does want to help you on your journey, what do you have out there available for people that they could help you out with to get you? Because I know you did not want to ask this today, but I'm sorry, my friend. If you're going to be doing this, it's good for the community. It's good for everybody. If they can help you out, how can they help you out?
Okay, so I'm not, as I was about to say, I'm not a big believer in these, GoFundMe type things. And if you look at my page, I do have Patreon, but I see Patreon as a product, not as a form for people to
fund. I hear you.
Fund, yeah. So without going into too much Patreon, because there's already been a big dive in viewers. Have a look at that. You'll see what I mean. Hopefully,
as soon as money comes up, everybody ditches. It's like, oh, I'm not here.
I get that. So currently, I've got an eBay listing on eBay for Make It Happen road trip stickers. It's like a sticker pack. So that's the sticker that you showed, and my sticker and the podcast sticker, just to kind of make it worthwhile. And they're on eBay at the moment for £2.50. That includes now that it seems quite high actually for a sticker, which is why I put in more than one stickers.
There you go. See,
but it covers
right there. That's right there. Yeah, you go. Okay.
So it covers like the eBay listing fees and the PayPal fees and the postage and stuff like that. So postage is included in that price. So that helps. And we've also got at the moment a bonfire t-shirt campaign going on. So it's definitely going to print. It's because 5 people have ordered t-shirts. I've ordered 2, one for me and one for Kat. So it's definitely going to print. So if you order one, it will definitely happen without a doubt. So any profit from that goes into the basically BP, Shell, Esso, and the fuel company. I got you.
When does that campaign end? Because I know with Bonfire it actually has an end date, doesn't it?
I think it's 10 days from the day we're talking now.
So a week and a half from now, basically.
Yeah, about that. I sort of started it because I wanted to have the t-shirts available to people so that they were whilst we were actually physically doing some of the legs.
Right. And let me ask you a question, because this logo is what's on those t-shirts. Okay. So who's responsible for this cluster? I mean, I'm sorry. No. This logo was developed by Al. Al did this logo for Richard, and this is what's on the t-shirts as well as the stickers and things of that nature. So if you guys are interested, then help Richard out if you can. If you can't, then like you said, I don't mind seeing him go poor. It's fine with me.
I'm just trying Al or blame Al.
I'm just trying to be nice here. It's all.
The logo is all on Al, and that's testament. Sorry, Al, you're going to get loads of people going, "Could you do my logo for me?" Because I literally, I did it because of your Steve Ash high voltage episode that you did. I literally said to Al, "We're doing this thing. This is I sent him a photograph of a dandy. This is what it's about. It's about having fun and making things and visiting people and having a laugh and including as many people as possible. Do you think you could come up with something?" And he came up with that, and that I just looked at it. I was like, "Oh, Scooby-Doo." It was awesome. And then he sent over another icon or another little kind of Photoshop thing on a t-shirt, which was where the t-shirt funding came in. But also, and I think it's important to mention this now to kind of put things in perspective. I've actually been talking with Mano Mano, and you probably would have seen me and or Jamie wearing some yellow Mano Mano t-shirts. In fact, if you watch the announcement video, we think we were both wearing them in that. So Mano Mano have pledged to support the road trip and chip in towards some of the fuel costs. So there will, in some of the videos, be a little bit of not Mano Mano branding, not like we're sponsored by or anything like that, because and this is testament to them actually, because they said, "We don't want that. We don't want you to do like blah, blah, blah." It's going to be,
I buy all my things from Mano Mano.
Exactly.
If you click here, you get a discount by Brain Fizz. Whatever.
So none of that.
Okay.
And that's just testament to them. But
we've all been beaten to death about that, haven't we? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So don't feel.
Well, you don't want anybody to feel obligated, Richard. I understand that, but I mean, if there's a way to get the word out that helps you along your journey, just because I think this is cool, I'll buy into it. That's why I bought the stupid sticker that Al designed. That's why I bought the freaking t-shirt. I mean, it's not because I didn't, because I kind of know you. We know each other a little bit, and I could have gotten the sticker for free, but I was looking to support a fellow maker that's trying to do something that I thought was pretty cool. That's the only reason why I did it.
Do you know what? Because you actually, I don't know whether you know that I know this, but you actually set up an eBay account that day so you could purchase that, because it says when you go through, it says when they joined, and I was like, you literally joined eBay today just to do it, and I felt quite bad. I was like, mate, I just sent you one.
No, but I wanted to support you. I mean, because that's what this community is about. We support each other, and when I see something that I think is kind of cool, and somebody who could use a little bit of help, I'm happy to help when I can. I mean, I can't help everybody, and not everything that I look at do I think is cool. So, you know, but I thought this was going to be cool. I thought it was going to be a good little trip and a good little video series for the UK community, which goes back to what I said before. I think that you guys are grossly underserved, and this is going to be awesome. So I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, and part of the reason for doing this is not about having fun for me and the people that are on the trip, because that's just a kind of a happy coincidence. It's about kind of highlighting the UK, because hopefully people will watch the videos in September, October time, when I'm hoping to get them out, and think, actually, if this can happen in the UK, I could be part of something, and I'm not alone. It kind of promotes the UK community as a whole, and people will kind of feel like they can do something like that as well. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, all sorts of windows. But that's kind of it. So hopefully, you know, that answers questions of people, and I'll get some links over to you. And
well, we're looking for good things from you in September and possibly October, Richard. So no pressure, none whatsoever. But it better kick ass, or, you know, we're going to want our money back. That's all I'm saying.
That's right. Well, that's why you got a T-shirt and a sticker, and not just you know, because I wouldn't like, you know what it's like when you promise something and there's a GoFundMe. And
no, yeah, I know, but I mean, there is such a thing.
Jamie asking me in 3 years' time when these videos are coming out. If not,
well, there is such a thing as return postage. I mean, I couldn't send it back, but I'm, you know, whatever. But I wouldn't do that to you.
As a sideline, we're actually looking to employ someone as our official biographer for the event. So if anyone wants to, you know, be biography for the event, then that would be greatly appreciated.
Well, if you raise enough money and you want to fly me over, I'll do it.
Red just made a really good point actually in the chat. You know, you could potentially raise money by auctioning some of the stuff off that you make on the trip.
Well, that is what we actually kind of have already done with when Jamie visited me, because that wasn't part of the road trip. That was just we planned to go and visit Jamie when we did, and then Jamie planned to go to UKIS like 4 days beforehand. And rather than him get the bus, like God knows where around the country back home, and then us following 2 days later, we just said, why don't you come visit us? So part of the kind of messing around we had between the two, we turned a bowl, and then Steve had his auction, and we went, let's auction the bowl off. Mm-hmm. And I think Red actually won that. So hopefully, Red, if you're in the chat, you have got that now.
He outbid me, because I bid on it first, and then, you know, he waited for the auction to be over to oh, by the way, Chris, I outbid you.
Sniped you at the last minute.
That's all right. I didn't want the damn thing anyway.
Now in the chat said, can we get some links for the eBay stickers?
Yeah, on the T-shirts as well.
And the T-shirts.
What,
Richard? We can kill some time here with some shout outs while you gather those links if you'd like. Jamie, who are you watching lately?
Absolutely.
Well, before I do that, I'm going to do the old
Jamie's page.
And I just want to announce to everybody out there, and you guys here, in case you didn't know, I presume that you did, that the podcast has a new sponsor. And the sponsor is Pam Harris from Highland Boxes.
Awesome, Pam. And we thank you so much for that, too, because that's very generous of you. What's that going to be, Jamie?
She's basically going to be donating, alongside Glyn from Yorkshire Grit, some hybrid pen blanks every 3 months. So, yeah, there you go.
Pam, thank you so much for supporting us. We appreciate that.
She actually wanted to give more, and I kind of told her no, because I thought it would be a bit too expensive for her. So
no, I mean, we appreciate it. I mean, and all of our sponsors do nothing but give us stuff to give to you guys that are listening and or watching today. So I mean that's very generous of you, Pam. So thank you very much.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously all her she's got a website that's being worked on at the moment. But all the rest of our social medias and all that lot is on our website under sponsors. So yeah, you can go and check that out. Anyway, my shout out. I've been looking into making my own guitar for God knows how long. That's kind of one of my bucket list things, because one of my bucket list things is to make my own guitar, then learn how to play "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd on the guitar.
Oh, good song.
So I've been kind of watching a lot of videos on YouTube at the moment on guitar building and where to put the right bits and bobs of the guitar and all sorts. So a channel I've known of for a while is Crimson Custom Guitars. So yeah, I've been kind of watching a lot of their videos as of late. So they're kind of an encyclopedia when it comes to guitars.
Awesome.
So yeah, I highly recommend you go and check them out.
Well, Jamie, I will do that. But let me ask real quick: are you looking to build an electric or an acoustic?
Probably eventually both, but
Okay.
probably start off easy and go with electric because
Awesome.
it's got more of a solid body.
Yeah, and you've got some router work to do there too, so Richard can help you out.
I do it on a scroll saw.
Okay. You know what? If you can make a scroll saw guitar, I think that your channel is going to blow up, man. I don't know if anybody can make a guitar on a scroll saw, but if anybody could, it would be you.
There you go. Challenge accepted.
Yeah, exactly. What about you, Al? You got anybody that you want to shout out today? I mean, this is our version of Spiffing, so I mean, if you want to give somebody some love, go for it.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody, I think it was last week, they posted a video. It's Nate from A Young Man's Workshop.
Yep.
He posted a video where he'd made like a cutting board with his wife, and it was just really nice seeing them working together in the shop. I think it was the first time she just wanted to get in the shop, and it was just a really cool video to watch.
That's cool. And you know, Nate's like an hour and a half away from me too. Someday he and I are going to hook up. It's just our schedules have been differing. So, yeah,
really,
awesome.
really nice guy. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome, dude. He put out some great videos. He does a lot of the when we get together in Atlanta, and I think he did another one another time. I don't remember where it was. I think it was Maker Central, to be honest with you, where he got some makers to sit down and put together some videos. So yeah, Nate, that's awesome. And my shout out this week, if you can forgive me for what may appear to be a self-serving shout out about another one of our sponsors, I honestly think that if you are into powder coating anything, then you need to go check out Mancrafting TM. Chad put out a pretty cool video on Thursday that just anybody who's interested in this should at least watch. The name of the video, if you want to search for it, I think was something along the lines of storable powder coating setup. And it was very interesting to watch. And I'm not even into powder coating, and I dug the video. But, you know, obviously, if you're subscribed to Chad, then just go to Mancrafting TM and have a look. And besides, today is Chad's birthday. So happy birthday, Chad. And thank you for supporting the podcast.
Chad.
And awesome video, too. So, you know, if you guys have a chance to go check that out, and if you're interested, by all means do. Back to you, Richard.
I'll rabbit in the headlights. I literally just put in the chat the links if people are interested, and I'll zip them over to you for the kind of the other stuff as well.
Okay.
I don't have a shout out this week because I'll tell you for why. I've been so busy doing like random things in the workshop since Jamie was here, and since we got back from Jamie's trip and planning all the other legs and life and stuff. And the weather's been nice. I've been out in the shop just turning stuff. I've done a couple of live videos, live streams on my channel, and I've been making pens. I've been making key rings. I'm making a bowl at the moment, just playing and just actually doing rather than consuming. And also we binge watched Game of Thrones first 6 seasons, but that was kind of in between things.
So, by the way, we may have just watched 6 seasons of Games of Thrones. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, but you know, if anyone watches Game of Thrones, you'll understand that. And we had to watch all 6 seasons as well because we don't own season 7. So what we've done, I've actually dug out Firefly from a box. So we just started watching. I didn't finish watching the first episode, Serenity.
I've watched that. I've watched that entire series like twice now. Yeah. And that just shows you how far up the rear end these networks are to have taken that off the air, because that needed like 6 or 7 or 8 more seasons to go. But whatever. Hey, whatever.
That's good though. I think of it this way. That's kind of
it left you wanting more, and it became a cult thing. And whatever. It still should have been 8 freaking seasons long. Richard, shut up.
Okay.
Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I'm here.
So that's all good. But I'm gonna, I'm just gonna use that time to thank everyone that's over in the chat, because the chat is going absolutely bonkers, more so than normal. We've got some high watching numbers. It's insane. So hopefully it's going to be the same for people listening in the future. So Jamie, you've done Jamie's page, haven't you?
Yeah, I've
done
done
your
all
thing
that,
because you mentioned Pam. So big thanks to Pam
Yeah.
as well, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Pam and also Jim as well on their leg in August. So
Awesome. And once again, happy anniversary, Al, Steve,
Woohoo!
and Brett for an awesome podcast, Foolsable Tools. If you haven't checked it out, get out from under the rock you're living in currently and go check out those guys because they do an awesome podcast and they crack me up on a weekly basis. So yeah, awesome guys. Awesome job, guys, and happy anniversary.
Cheers, Chris.
Yeah,
wicked.
take it easy.
Apologies to Joe because we are now 7 minutes over. So hopefully we can.
It's
If
problem.
you edit out all my swearing, you'll be bang on an hour.
Possibly. I think that pretty much wraps everything up for this week. Al, thanks for coming on, particularly at short notice, and thanks again for being such a lunatic and allowing us to descend on the Hack Shack. And hopefully it'll still be standing at the end, and there'll be no hospital visits either. So wicked. Big thanks to everyone who is out in the chat, listening in, and a big thanks to, well, you other two. You pretty much have to be here every week.
God, have a great week, everybody.
We will see you next week. Thanks for listening. If you are still listening, if you're not, we'll say what we like about you. And you take care.
See you, everybody.